Hello again from Daisy HQ. Welcome to my sewing channel with all things sewing and vintage related sewing. Today I am going to make a 1940s top. So my original plan was to make an Art Deco 1930s top, but the pattern didn't quite work out. So I've taken some inspiration from Instagram and I found this on a 1940s page. So as you can see, it's a very glamorous 1940s top, and I just want a nice 1940s style blouse to take me through the winter and just put with some suits or something. So this was what I decided on. Now I couldn't find a pattern that was directly like this top, so what I've decided to do is mishmash some of my patterns that I've got in my pattern collection together. So that will give me the desired effect for this top that I want to make. So starting off with this, I've decided to use the bodice from, this is a Brooklyn Girl vintage pattern that I've made before. So this is the dress, and the bodice here, I'm not sure if that's very clear, it actually has a centre front seam. So the top that I want to make has a centre front seam, so that worked quite well, and it's also got a high neck, so that did work well, and it's also got the kind of sleeve setting that I want, which is a set in sleeve. So what I've done, this is the bodice pattern piece, so I just folded that in a little bit because it's got a very high neck on the original pattern, and I've added in where a placket will be down here, so I've just taken that out a little bit, and that will go obviously all the way down. The next part of my mishmash pattern is the peplum for the 1940s top. So I've used this pattern from Vintage Pattern Sewing Company, and as you can see there's a peplum here. I have made this dress before, but as you can see this doesn't have a centre front seam, so I've just had to modify the peplum piece, and this is what I did. So that's the front peplum piece. So what I did was modify it to make a curve instead of a straight line around here. So this is going to be the centre front, and then I've also sort of widened it to give it a little bit more drape. With regard to the back peplum piece, I've just used that as a centre back fold, and then as you can see here, cut up the top and then a slash and spread. So hopefully that will give the peplum a little bit more drape. The third part of my mishmash pattern is going to be sleeve from this Wearing History pattern. So this is a dress that I haven't made yet, and I was actually planning to make this as my Art Deco top, but when I cut the pattern out there was some little bit of pattern piece down here that didn't quite fit with what I wanted to do, so I've decided not to use that one, and actually the inspiration that I found does fit better. What I am going to use from this pattern is the sleeve from option 2, which is a long sleeve with a turn up on the bottom and actually quite wide, so that gives the right sort of design, the right sort of feel that I'm looking for. Continuing on, I do have a fourth pattern that I've used a piece from, a very, very small bit, but consequential nonetheless, and that is from another vintage sewing pattern company. It's a coat that I haven't made yet, so watch this space because that will be coming, and it is actually the shoulder pad. Small but important when you're making a 1940s top. And for the coat, if I just take these pins out here, you can see that the shoulder pad is actually quite big there, which you would expect to need in a coat, so all I did was just fold it up a little bit so that it would be smaller for the top, and actually that is cut on the fold, so that makes the inside and outside of the shoulder pad, and I've just used some wadding there, cut some wadding out which gives it a nice depth for the shoulder pad to make it stand up a little on the shoulders. Next, I'll come on to the material that I'm going to be using for this design, and this is it. It's I'm not quite sure what it is. Feels like a rayon. It's quite lightweight, I'd say. Yeah, probably a rayon. It's got a nice drape to it, if you can, well, you can see that. And I love the colours. And I got this fabric from my recent holiday when we went to Greece. I always go to Athens at the end of the holiday and have a little route around the sewing shops. There's a whole street full of fabric shops, which I'm going to put up a short video on, so that anybody who might find themselves in Athens and is interested in sewing might want to go and take a look. But anyway, this was from Aladdin's Cave, which had videoed, so it will be on there, this shop. So it was €6 a metre, and I bought 2 metres of it. So hopefully that will give me enough to make the long sleeve on this blouse. And yeah, that's it. So let's get going. Now it's time to pin the facings to the peplum. Next it's time to sew all the interfaced facings to the garment. Once that's done, I overlock around the edges of the facing. And finally hand stitch the edges of the facing in place. So it's now 1 month after I started the Beetlejuice top sewing project, or the stripy blouse sewing project, and I've been distracted by other sewing projects which I've managed to start and finish in between times, but I've now got something to show you, and here is the finished result. So as you can see, stripes going in all directions. I'll just hold this up so you can see it a bit closer, because you can't see it all if I put it on the floor. Dummy is a bit short. So there's the peplum. I'm not 100% keen on horizontal stripes around the hips, but I wanted different directional stripes on the top, so I'm going to go with it, and hopefully the cinching at the waist will make it look a bit better. The buttons worked out okay. I think this was my problem. I couldn't find black buttons, which you think there'd be a million black buttons, but I'm actually quite pleased with these covered buttons. I've put them again in a slightly different direction to the stripes on the top, just to make them stand out a little bit. And if I just hold up the sleeve, you can see the wide sleeve there. I didn't quite have enough to make long sleeves, but actually I don't like the sleeves long, and I think the 3/4 sleeve suits this better. I'll just give you a quick view of the back there, with the peplum, nice with the little belt on, cinched in. So there we are. Not ready for Halloween, or maybe it is ready for Halloween, maybe it's ready for Halloween next year, but I will get some wear out of it. I've got a nice yellow wool suit that this will go with, so yeah, I think I'm going to get some wear of it in the winter. and I will definitely be popping up a little video about where I got this fabric from. So if you're ever finding yourself in Athens and you want to go to a fabric shop, just keep checking in and see the next video, and you'll be able to see where these Aladdin's caves are and maybe get your own little bargain. So if you've watched to the end, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little creation coming together, and tune in for the next bit. See you.